Hi there, my name is Ashley Priest, and the topic I've chosen to focus on for my action project is the intersectionalities in aging adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The reason that I chose this topic is because my younger brother has autism, which is a developmental disability, and I'm always striving to learn more about intellectual and developmental disabilities and the ways that my family and I may be able to better serve and support him in the future. He is in his 20s now, and even though that's not even though that's not an old age, there have been a lot of learning curves as he has aged. So I thought this would be a good way to examine the potential learning curves to come in the future and how to be there for him and support him as he does age. Intellectual and developmental disabilities are disorders that are present at birth or develop before adulthood that can change the outcome of an individual's development throughout life. These disabilities affect many different aspects of the mind and body of an individual and provide additional challenges and needs throughout their lives. Some examples of intellectual and developmental disabilities are Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, autism, spina bifida, and cerebral palsy. Understanding how individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities age and how the disabilities affect their aging processes is crucial in providing adequate support, healthcare, and other needs they may encounter. Intellectual and developmental disabilities include a wide range of diagnoses, which influence each of these individuals differently depending on the type of disability that they have and the severity of that disability. So it is important to view these individuals through an intersectionality lens and get the whole picture of who they are as a person, not just who they are as their disability, and the challenges that they may face on a daily basis. Throughout my research, I evaluated several scholarly articles to look more in depth into the lives of these individuals who are aging with the intellectual and developmental disabilities and the challenges they face and the needs they have. The one thing that was discussed throughout, I want to say at least half the articles, if not more, is that the increase in life expectancy of these individuals. While the life expectancy is still lower than the life expectancy of aging adults without intellectual and developmental disabilities, it is still rising, and that's mostly due to the improvement of social environments and overall healthcare. There's no shortage in challenges that this population faces. These challenges include increased health risk, lack of community-based social interactions, and the lack of support and resources available for them. While healthcare has improved over the years, there's still a lack of available research and a lack of experience when it comes to healthcare for individuals aging with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This lack of understanding and knowledge can cause a great deal of harm to these individuals. Unfortunately, the one of the main problems is the communication between patients with disabilities, with these disabilities and their healthcare providers. It's been shown to be quite poor, and that can lead to providers ignoring other healthcare conditions that the individuals may be struggling with and only focusing on the main diagnosis being their disability. Individuals with disabilities often do not show pain or other symptoms the same way that people without these disabilities would. And that can cause healthcare providers to not understand that something else may be going on with them. When working with this population, patient-centered care is important as these individuals typically develop the same common diseases that others develop. But again, they may show the symptoms and other signs of these diseases in a different way that's unfamiliar to the healthcare providers. And a lot of times, if these diseases go untreated, they can be life-threatening or lead to worsening health conditions and be, in the long run, more expensive treatment. And since individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities are living longer, we are seeing more of them develop common age-related diseases such as bone-related problems like osteoporosis, higher risks of fractures and loss of balance, range of motion, and muscle tone. Adults aging with intellectual and developmental disabilities have also been proven to develop frailty at younger ages, and typically it progresses faster than individuals without these disabilities. As individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities go through their childhood and adulthood, they usually live with parents or siblings. But what happens when these caretakers can no longer take care of them, or they're themselves are having health problems or struggling with different things? There's a huge lack of resources and long term planning available for these individuals. And since it's been seen they're living longer than in the past, it's a definite need, for support and future planning for these individuals and their family, resources available for their family to help them plan for when they're no longer able to take care of them or when they're gone. Housing available for individuals. Aging individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities is challenging because if you look at housing for aging individuals, just general aging individuals, a lot of times it's in segregated environments, care homes, care facilities, assisted living, that sort of thing. And then if you look at adults with disabilities, a lot of time their housing is also a segregated type of environment in foster care institutions, that sort of thing. So when you put them together, it's even more segregated. And the reason why the housing is segregated is, to provide good health care and provide high quality of life for these individuals. However, it's been shown that participation in community and social activities provide aging adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities with good memories and actually enhance their quality of life. It provides a sense of inclusion and improves their overall well-being. End of life can be a scary time for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Some of these people don't understand death. They've never been talked to about death and kind of what happens and, what happens with your body. And their caregivers or the support staff don't have the training or know-how to help them kind of move through this. So there's definitely a lack of support, a lack of education in this area as well. To be able to meet some of these challenges and support these individuals, it's important that more research is done to evaluate exactly what is going on with these individuals' bodies and minds. We need to look at what works and what needs to be adapted to better serve them and how it needs to be adapted. Awareness and understanding needs to be brought to society and the community as a whole, or at the very least, there needs to be opportunities to bring awareness and understanding. Healthcare professionals across the board need to be trained on how to treat these individuals and take the time to provide patient-centered care. Direct support staff needs to be educated on the differences that may be seen when working with these individuals. In order for these individuals to get the help and services they need, we ultimately need improved funding and coordination of services. Improved funding is a big one. We can't provide this training, the education, the awareness, all that stuff if we don't have improved funding. So I would say, research even needs funding. So that's probably the major one. Within our community, there are some resources available. The major one that I found is the ADRC, which is Aging and Disability Resource Connection of Oregon. This agency's website provides quite a few resources to help get people connected to who they may need to talk to about services for all types of things, such as long-term planning, food, housing, healthcare, and several other resources. I think that the website's a good starting point and provides individuals with or without the intellectual and developmental disabilities resources to look into. And, it provides a starting point for these people, whether it's the individual with the intellectual or developmental disability or their family members or their caretakers or whoever. It does provide a lot of resources. I would say there's a little bit more digging involved, and I think that this website could probably benefit from a more user-friendly upgrade. But, other than that, it does have resources available. I actually used the ADRC website to find a local resource within Albany, because that's where I live. And that resource is Linn County Developmental Disabilities. It's through the city, through the county. So the goal of this organization is to support and meet needs of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout their lives and support them in decision making and self-advocacy. Within the program, individuals are provided with care managers to help them find and use the resources available to them. So it does provide an extra layer of support, and it allows for somebody to be there to kind of help them navigate through resources and find out who they need to contact and all of that fun stuff. So those are two resources that I think are helpful. In conclusion, I do think that there is a big intersectionality with aging adults and developmental and intellectual disabilities. It's obvious that this is a growing population, and more research needs to be done, to better assist these individuals in growing and living fulfilling lives, and providing good health care for these individuals. Throughout my research, I was able to find some articles, but it was hard to find articles specifically focusing on aging adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. If you just looked at all disabilities as a whole, that was a little bit of an easier way to find some research. But there weren't a whole lot of studies that looked at how different services and stuff like that are affecting these individuals. And I think that that's a missing link that we need to figure out, is what's going to help these individuals in the long term, and what's worth putting our money into to help these individuals. So I do think that this is important, and I think that it needs more attention, and I think that more research needs to be brought into it. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, or comment on wherever this is posted in Canvas, and I'm more than happy to talk with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.